Apple could unveil the iPhone 18 Pro later this year without bringing back a black finish yet again. No space black, no familiar safe choice. And if the rumors are accurate, Apple is doing it intentionally, steering the Pro lineup toward bolder, more eye-catching colors instead of the traditional dark, stealthy aesthetic. So here's what's being discussed right now. Several leaks suggest Apple isn't planning a black iPhone 18 Pro or iPhone 18 Pro Max, continuing the same strategy seen with the iPhone 17 Pro series. We're also hearing Apple is experimenting with a deep red Pro, along with a limited set of classic finishes, but black isn't included. And we're not only talking about Apple. Google's Pixel 11 leaks hint at almost no visual changes. Sony's Xperia leaks suggest the opposite, a major redesign. Meanwhile, Apple may be tweaking the one thing users instantly notice in stores: color. By the end of this, you'll understand what the leaks truly reveal, why Apple could be making this move, which colors seem most likely, and what it means if you're someone who only buys Pro iPhones in black. First, the main rumor. A leak from Instant Digital claims Apple had once considered a black option for the iPhone 18 Pro models, but it's now been removed from the lineup. That word matters, removed, because it suggests black wasn't just never planned, it existed as an option at some stage, and then Apple chose not this year. Now, this aligns with what Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has reported. Apple is testing a deep red finish for the iPhone 18 Pro models, along with a limited number of traditional colors, and in those tests, black doesn't appear among the final options being evaluated. So we have two independent signals pointing in the same direction. Apple reviewed black, Apple may have dropped black, and Apple is experimenting with a deep red Pro instead. Now, if you're thinking, okay, but color leaks are always messy, you're right. Colors are one of the easiest elements for Apple to change late, and one of the easiest details for leaks to misinterpret. But there's a pattern here, and that pattern began with the iPhone 17 Pro, because Apple already tested this approach once. The iPhone 17 Pro lineup arrived without a traditional black option. Instead, the reported lineup included silver, titanium gray, dark blue, and desert titanium. So, if you've been buying Pro iPhones for years because you preferred that stealthy, professional space black look, Apple essentially told you to choose something different. And if these iPhone 18 Pro reports are accurate, Apple is doubling down on that strategy. Now, let's break down the other rumored colors, because this is where things get confusing. There were also reports suggesting Apple was testing purple and brown finishes for the iPhone 18 Pro lineup. Purple sounds believable because Apple has used purple before on non-Pro models, and it remains a popular real-world choice. Brown sounds unusual, but in leak terminology, brown can represent anything from bronze to copper to a warmer titanium tone. But Mark Gurman has hinted those colors might not actually be separate options. Instead, they could be variations of the same deep red concept, not entirely different finishes. In other words, when some people see a warm, dark red, they might describe it as brown. Others might interpret a rich, warm tone as purple. But internally, Apple could be testing a single concept, a deep, premium red that shifts depending on lighting conditions. And that idea makes sense because Apple doesn't just choose colors casually. It engineers finishes, how the surface reflects light, how it appears indoors versus outdoors, how it looks on camera, how it pairs with the camera module, how it interacts with cases, how it handles fingerprints, and how it ages over time. So, when you hear multiple color rumors, it could mean Apple is testing different options, or it could simply be different interpretations of the same finish. Now, here's the bigger question. Why would Apple deliberately remove black from the Pro lineup? Because black is safe. Black sells consistently. Black matches everything. And for many buyers, black is the default choice, especially for professionals or anyone who prefers a low-profile device. So, if Apple removes black, it's likely a strategic move, not an oversight. Here are the most logical explanations. First, Apple may want the Pro models to stand out immediately.
If the standard iPhone comes in playful colors and the Pro models stick to dark tones, it creates a clear divide, fun versus serious. But Apple might be flipping that idea. It could want the Pro lineup to look premium in a more noticeable way, not just another dark rectangle. That's why we keep hearing about standout finishes like deep red. Second, Apple might be intentionally moving away from a darker Pro identity. If most buyers automatically choose black every year, Apple loses control over the visual identity of the lineup. By removing black, it forces buyers to adapt, and over time, Apple can redefine what a Pro iPhone should look like. Third, it could come down to materials and durability. With titanium and newer coatings, finishes behave differently compared to older stainless steel designs. Some colors look incredible in renders, but underperform in real-world conditions, especially with scratches or wear. Black finishes can be particularly unforgiving if coatings degrade over time. Now let's talk about the "we need more colors" argument, because it's valid. Apple has clearly entered a more vibrant design phase, and it's refreshing after years of muted tones. But there's still a limitation. Apple often restricts the Pro lineup to just 3 or 4 finishes, while the base iPhone offers more variety. From Apple's perspective, fewer colors simplify manufacturing, marketing, and inventory. From the buyer's perspective, it feels intuitive. People paying the most should have the most choices. Realistically, many buyers want both options, a classic space black Pro and a bold alternative like deep red. This doesn't have to be a trade-off. If Apple offered space black, silver, blue, and deep red,